I came from. See, was I being truthful when I talked about that aspect that, we actually ran our office on principles, not politics. And I believe that people actually were able to see that. They liked what they saw. And I believe going forward that, when the people look me up, they're going to see the same thing, that we're going to get back to actually looking at a case by the facts and evidence, not just bringing it forward because somebody felt like it.
I do want to ask you about the recent terrorist attack by a Hezbollah-inspired jihadist in your state against a synagogue targeting Jews and Jewish children specifically, a very disturbing act of terrorism. I will point out, and I'll make the political point, that exact same day, later in the day, in fact, both U.S. senators from Michigan, Democrats, voted to maintain the Homeland Security shutdown that Democrats caused weeks ago and is still going on today. If you can just talk about that terrorist attack, I know that has a lot of Michiganders quite concerned. You have a U.S. Senate candidate saying he didn't really want to denounce it too full-throatedly. He certainly didn't want to comment on the killing of the Ayatollah because there are people in your state he thinks are sad and grieving about the loss of a terrorist. And then this DHS shutdown on public safety, I know that's part of your bread and butter, if you just want to give a perspective there.
Sure. When you're talking about the DHS shutdown, that's concerning because for me, I've been endorsed by 60 prosecutors across the state, over 30 sheriffs across the state, Police Officers Association. So law enforcement is very important to me. And when we think about those federal partners that we have, because we're a border state, right? So that's important that we actually take those things into consideration. And I think for most of Michigan, what we see is that, our interaction with ICE is very good. It's only in certain areas that problem occurs. But then we see the problems of the terrorist attack that we saw down there, into the Detroit area. And that concerns me as I think about being Attorney General, because our job is to protect all the citizens. And that day, we put a lot of citizens at risk by the actions of that one person. And so we're going to have to actually look into ourselves and look at ourselves as a state and decide how we want to move forward. And that's going to take some discussions. And I think we're going to actually see that in the policies that we're going to lay out, as well as the discussions we're going to have with all of our communities on how we make ourselves feel safer.
Well, Mike Rogers is the U.S. Senate nominee for the Republicans in Michigan, and he narrowly lost in 2024. It's a big mess of a primary on the Democrat side. I think that he's strong at the top of the ticket, and there are some other people running for very important positions, including Doug Lloyd, our guest here, who's the AG nominee as of just a few days ago at the convention in Michigan. And I wanted to bring him on because public safety, law and order, front and center in a lot of places, including battleground Michigan. Doug, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guy.
Well, Doug just mentioned ICE in that last answer. Speaking of ICE, the former acting director of that agency, Jonathan Fahey, will join us. A few major stories that he wants to get to. We're looking forward to that. Straight ahead.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. Our country's founding fathers drafted a document that is the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. My friends at O'Hare & Company Real Estate, we believe we're at a precipice in time where we must take back our country. We must stand up for our freedoms or lose them forever. Please don't sit idle and let it slip away. Don't let anyone force you to do something you choose not to. As JFK said, if not us, who? If not now, when? If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, give O'Hare & Company Real Estate a call at 281-373-3393, 281-373-3393, or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. I'm Kevin O'Hara. God bless America, and God bless Texas.
You're listening to the Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball, and AM 1540 KGBC Galveston.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. American employers added a surprisingly strong 178,000 new jobs last month, rebounding from a dismal February. And the unemployment rate dipped to 4.3%.
The Labor Department reported Friday that hiring marked a rebound from the loss of 133,000 jobs in February. The job gains were about 3 times what economists had forecast. The unemployment rate was down from 4.4% in February. That's partly because the labor force, those working and looking for work, dropped by 396,000 in March, so fewer people were competing for jobs. Factories added 15,000 jobs last month and construction companies 26,000, probably because of warmer weather last month. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
A U.S. fighter jet has been shot down in Iran and 1 crew member was rescued. It's the first aircraft down since the war began nearly 5 weeks ago. It marked a major escalation in the conflict. Separately, a second U.S. Air Force combat aircraft went down in the Middle East on Friday. A new book written by the Vice President of Colorado Springs-based ministry focused on the family is offering hope that the upcoming generation of Americans are embracing traditional values. Tim Gagline says as he lectures on college campuses, his message to young people is straightforward.
If you want a long-term measurable happiness, get married and stay married. Have children. Enjoy grandchildren. There is actually study after study that shows that the well-ordered society begins in what we call the natural nuclear family. What really matters is having a good life and a well-ordered society.
Tim Gagline's just-published book is entitled What Really Matters, Restoring a Legacy of Faith, Freedom, and Family. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
With Easter upon us, food safety experts are offering some egg handling tips. Rich Thomason reports.
They say you can dye eggs and eat them safely if they're handled right. We're told we should hard-boil the eggs first to reduce the risk of salmonella, then follow the household 2-hour rule for the amount of time that eggs are safe at room temperature. Both artificial and natural food dyes are okay as long as they're labeled food grade. But if you're planning on an egg hunt outside, it might be best to go with plastic eggs. Keep the dyed eggs for your Easter spread. Rich Thomason reporting.
The Trump administration has scaled back its plans to dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Under the new plan, the Bureau's headcount would be reduced from 1,700 authorized employees before Trump's second term to roughly 550 staffers. News and analysis at townhall.com. More on a big change.
Do you need money? Want to lower your monthly debt? Are you thinking about a cash-out refinance? Hi, it's Kathy from Baker Mortgage. A cash-out refinance can get you back in your comfort zone, and that's what it's all about. A recent client who closed with us had his payment go up about $300, but his monthly outgo was being reduced by $1,200, so giving him a net positive cash flow of $900. It's not about adding debt, but restructuring it in a way that makes sense, and this math totally makes sense. And please don't sweat it if your interest rate is going up a little or if you're extending the term. I can show you by taking a small amount of what you're saving monthly and applying it towards your mortgage, you're going to pay it off just as quickly and you'll be way ahead in the money game, which is where we all want to be, right? Remember, we want to help you, but we're not going to help you over a cliff. Baker Mortgage, 281-313-MOVE, or go directly to bakermortgage.com.
Equal housing lender, license number 263213.
From the KSEV Weather Center, this afternoon expect a mix of clouds and sun along with some breezy conditions and the possibility of a thunderstorm in a few areas. The temperature will reach a high of 83. Tonight will remain breezy with overcast skies and a chance of showers in some spots. The low will be around 70. Tomorrow will be mainly cloudy with periods of rain and a chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. The high will be 80. Moving into Sunday, there will be intermittent rain and a chance of a morning thunderstorm with cloudy skies, breezy conditions, and slightly cooler temperatures reaching a high of 71. With the KSEV Weather Center forecast, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
This is Paul Betancourt. Property values may have peaked. Protest your property values now.
Sign up with Betancourt Tax Advisors by going online to btanow.com or by calling Paul's professional property team at 713-263-6100.
Checkapro Joe here. Don't miss the Checkapro Radio Show, your trusted source for home service pros. This week we're featuring Bel Air Air Conditioning, keeping Houston cool and comfortable. Tune in every Friday at noon right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
One for each other and all for one. The three brave amigos are we.
Andale, amigos.
Brother to brother and everyone. A brave amigo. And amigos forever will be.
That's right. It's Amigos Forever here on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a good Friday afternoon. You've got the taxman, El Senador Paul Betancourt at the helm. You got the soul man of the upcoming True View. He's on the box, right? We'll get him live in a second. And we got Eric, the ever-present, ever-vescent judge.
Always a good Friday with the three amigos.
Right.
Always a good
always
Friday.
A good Friday. I agree. That was very good.
Always a good Friday.
All right. And
Ben is so sweet, he would melt if he got in the rain. We just keep him at home. He's I don't want him to melt.
Yeah, there he is. And Gary, El Supremo, will take all your calls at 281-558-5730. And Gary, turn my soundboard on too here, would you? All right. Let's see if that works. No, there we go. I got a Yahoo out of the whole thing.
Out of the Good Friday?
Yeah.
My best line I've had in 21 years.
I know he was really good. In fact, it's, 21 every years, Friday's a good Friday. I'll give you a ringing bell.
Thank you. After 21 years, that's about time.
Well, and Ben, I'm glad your bell got rung and you're back.
Yeah, I'm taking a little R&R, guys, this weekend. So, unfortunately, that probably means more airtime for Eric, but I think everybody will survive. But we got Eric Berger, right? So that would be great. I saw your promo, Paul.
Yeah, we do. And, in fact, it's up on my social media at Vote Betancourt, or you can go to paulbetancourt.com. We've got Eric Berger coming in at 4:20, and we have got the inside scoops as to what's going on with Artemis and the moonshot.
And the bathroom.
Right.
I don't know if it's working.
Well, no, I did. The bathroom's working.
It's working.
Well, and what the problem was that they had not put enough water in to prime the pump. The water level is too low.
I watched.
And so, but that's like a single point of failure when you got 4 people on a capsule is your bathroom.
Did you watch the liftoff, did
fortunately,
you?
They have... Fortunately, they have YouTube and DYI. They could consult YouTube.
Well, and I won't give away all of what Eric is going to give us the background stuff on, but Ben, they apparently, the rocket technology is obviously it's the old STS, aka the space shuttle system, and it's a bit finicky. So that basically they had a team from SpaceX helping them getting Artemis ready to go. I mean, that's how much rocket technology is transferred, in modern times.
So Ben, should I? SpaceX is going to have an IPO. Should I be looking for it? Should I jump in?
Yeah, I was going to ask you too,
Ben.
Ben.
Yeah, Ben. What do you think?
What do you think, Ben?
I think you see where it prices and where it trades after, because a lot of these things are overvalued initially, and they come back down to a much more reasonable value. They're talking $2 trillion for SpaceX, and they generated about $40 billion last year in revenue. So
it'd be like a 2% return, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a little rich. I think I'm gonna sit on the sidelines for a while.
Okay, that's good advice. I'll sit on the sidelines.
All right.
But I wanted to ask you. I watched that liftoff. I guess all of America did, or the world. It made me nervous. I was so nervous watching.
Why were you nervous?
Because we're old enough to remember. We're old enough to remember. What was it? Was it Challenger?
Yes, I mean that was one. I mean we had two.
That exploded.
Columbia,
Yeah.
All right.
And I just got nervous. We haven't been up in a long, long time.
Well, just so you know, two things. One, if the way this system is designed, and Eric's, can get you more technical details, there would actually be a chance to where the capsule would be, it has its own ejection system, which is a rocket on top.
Oh, it can leave on its own.
It can leave on its own. It's not like a fixed wing system, which is because once the system blew, the space shuttle was torn apart effectively by the explosion. There'd be a chance the capsule would be thrown clear and it has its own escape rocket. That was exactly what what Apollo had. See, this is
O-ring or something goofy.
Well,
right?
no, that was the O-ring that froze is what got the solid rocket boosters, which are basically the same, to basically burn through the tank. And when the tank ignited, that was the end of the end of the flight. So we've got them coming. And by the way, in the meantime, we've had, again, every week, I think we don't have anything to talk about. All right. We have now got, we've got an F-15 downed. We have one pilot.
Two have been shot down.
Yeah. Well, one was shot down, and that's not counting the three that who shot them down? Was it the Qatarians or the Omarians? Who shot them down? Somebody shot them.
Yeah, it was Gutter by mistake.
Oh, yes.
This F-15E Strike Eagle was supposedly shot down, according to what's been reported, by shoulder-fired heat-seeking missiles.
Wow!
And they recovered one pilot. He's alive, and they're still looking for the other one. And if the Iranians had the other one, we would know about it. And then we had a A-10 Warthog damaged earlier in the day, but it managed to fly back over the water, and the pilot ejected, and he was retrieved by U.S. personnel.
Well, handheld artillery? I mean, handheld.
Yeah, those are shoulder-fired stamps.
Wow, well.
Right. Well, and now, look, I was worried about that, Ben, because I saw two Blackhawks refueling from one of those Galaxy tankers, and they were flying over the bridge that got cut in half. But it was like, wow, I mean, they're only maybe 1,000, 2,000 feet off the ground. I mean, they're a few thousand feet off the ground. They weren't a mile up by any stretch. And I was worried, gosh, those guys are getting from peak to peak, because there's, valley peaks, around both sides of that deal. You get somebody up there with one of those RPGs or a Stinger or something, and boom, you lose the tanker or you lose the helicopters. That was way too low.
Air supremacy does not mean risk-free.
Yeah, well, and
you still have exposure from ground fire, both missile and any aircraft artillery.
All right, now, what do y'all think of the president's speech? I'll give you my take real fast. I thought that the speech.
We have a clip, Paul.
Oh, we have a clip.
We have a clip.
A clip?
Yeah, we do.
About how great we're doing. I hope I don't want to listen to it.
Well, I don't know what I said, but we're going to find out. You've got 4 clips, Gary. How many? Just one.
Yeah, tell him it's the one about from his speech about talking about our allies in Europe. I thought that was very interesting.
You have any idea? Anybody?
Like the one I think I labeled it "grow a pair."
See if that's
okay. Grow a pair. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no
all
country
right.
like
Let's
us
see,
anywhere in
play
the
it.
world, and we're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and in every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on. So to those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, we had to do it ourselves. I have a suggestion. Number one, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much.
We'll
and
sell
number
it to
two,
you
build
cheap.
up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the Strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy.
Now that way, by the way, was delayed courage, not liquid courage. When I first heard it, I said, "Did he say liquid courage?" Okay, that's right. I was going, "Wow!" I mean, that's
To me, it said basically, "Hey, grow a pair, guys. You need to find your self-respect."
Now, but Ben, here was the problem with that speech. If that was 2 weeks ago, I think or so. That would be more in tune with the timing and the
and shifting of his message,
right? Of the
guys.
message. But the difference is that when that got played, the market went down. But more importantly, oil prices shot up by almost $11 a barrel, and they're still holding on the futures market today at roughly that. So I think there was a delayed response to what would have been a delayed talk to the American people, because now everybody's
I think it could have been done sooner and could have
if
been
that was his message, it should have been
better.
done sooner.
Absolutely.
But Hormuz that was going to be his baby. I mean, that was his whole point first, of these shifts and shifts. I don't think this is playing well, Ben. I bet you this polling is not looking like you showed me.
Well, Ben, I don't know if you have time to look at the polling, but everything that's come out that I see that pops up on my feed, whether it's CNN or Fox, we're like 31%, lowest ever on the economy. You go down the list.
And the war is going down that list,
right,
too.
Yeah, right.
Ben, you got to agree with that now, don't you? You remember it was close?
Yeah, I'm going to check it at the break, and I'll get you some hard facts. But I support what you're saying. I think there's no question that the American people are not behind what he's doing. Now, whether or not he's doing the right thing and whether or not they'll feel that way in 6 months, I don't know. But, elections, typically are won in March, April, May, June, right, July. And
that's where good stuff or bad stuff is baked in.
He's got to take that off-ramp, Ben. He has an off-ramp now. He handed the Strait over to Europe, and this is when he should get out. I mean, then we quote one. We've decimated.
But Eric, that
now.
presupposes you're handing it off to somebody.
No, you leave now. He set the table. Go. That's the only victory you're going to get. Quote, you decimated, just like he decapitated, or whatever words he used. We decimated or when he bombed.
Are you stumbling over the bomb Iran plan by?
I'm trying to find the word where
you mean
said
leadership?
6 months ago. No, 6 months ago when he said we decimated the nuclear program, blah blah blah. Well, didn't turn out that may have been accurate. This is time to leave.
As best I can tell, there is nuclear material. It's just buried under tons of rubble.
Give them some shovels, and we'll see what happens.
Well, no, you don't want them to get any shovels. That's why we watch it.
Guys, they can buy what they need if they're really going to come back.
I don't think they can buy
from North Korea. They can't buy something.
Not
seriously?
that number of not that amount of enriched
we're talking
uranium.
Years, Eric, because of the. First of all, they weren't supposed to have 60% enriched uranium. They said they didn't have it. That's 2 weeks time to bomb-grade material. So they've been lying about that for the last couple of years. And then they need those centrifuges to keep processing the material. Most of those have been destroyed. So they're kind of stuck unless they get foreign help, and a lot of it willing to build a lot of construction projects that the U.S. would certainly target. It's going to be tough to reconstitute that, but it's possible if you leave them in place, But I know I'm talking about both sides of my mouth. If you're talking about what
you gotta leave now, Ben. You there's an exit.
Yeah, you keep saying it's not worth it. I keep hearing you tell us and everyone it's not worth it. The higher gas prices is not worth it, or higher gas prices for 6 months or a year or however long it is. It's not worth it. I just don't believe that's the case with as much as we have accomplished just in terms of destroying them as the neighborhood bully.
At least I find myself in the majority, finally. I mean, your position's fine, but Ben, that's not selling now. He's got an exit ramp. Take it. That speech, go now. Just go. Go. He's done everything he can do. He should go.
He's got a lot of options.
Well, he doesn't need to be. I can't wait to talk about space now.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about space.
Yes.
And the good news is that the Artemis 2 rocket is over about 115,000 miles up over the Earth and continuing to climb to its apogee. We'll find out from the Sci Guy how far they're going to go and all the backstory right after this. Get your calls in 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. The three amigos will be back with the Sci Guy next here on The Voice of Texas.
The Joe Pack Show, tonight at 6 on KSEV and KGBC. Still the Voice of Texas.
Shopping insurance? Contact Joe Wardell. He's an independent agent, and he can look at what you have, shop and see. His number, 281-944-9025. Joe Wardell, 281-994-9025.
This is Kevin O'Hara with O'Hara & Company Real Estate. The country and the world are changing for the good. If you're watching the mainstream media, that's not the message you're getting. They've been brainwashing you for years. Dig into the real news and wake up. You were born free and freedom was given to you by God. The word government is derived from the Greek words meaning to steer a rudder. That should tell you something. God put us here to love one another no matter what race, religion, or ethnic group. And I'll admit sometimes I have a problem doing this, but I'm working on it. If you need a real estate company, call O'Hara & Company Real Estate at 281-373-3393 or look us up on the web at o'harare.com. Also, if you're looking for a home builder, remodeling, patio cover, any type of construction projects, give O'Hara Homes a call at 281-373-3393. And here's my grandson.
This is Keita Martinez. God bless America and God bless Texas. One more thing. God bless my pawpaw.
Houston Methodist Hospital has been named the best hospital in Texas for patient care and quality for the 14th year in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We are proud to be a top-ranked hospital in the country and nationally ranked in 10 specialties. For more than 100 years, we have been honored to provide you with the highest quality care possible. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it for you. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Let me tell you how it will be. There's one for you, 19 for me. 'Cause I'm the tax man.
Yeah, you've got the tax man with the three amigos here on The Voice of Texas. Got the judge, got the soul man, and as promised and as promoted heavily on Vote Betancourt, a.k.a., Paul Betancourt, a.k.a., tens of thousands of views already. They know the Sci Guy, Eric Berger, is coming to town like Santa Claus, except he's bringing his report from the Cape because he was there when the big candles were lit. So, Eric, what do you say about Artemis 2?
Well, good afternoon. It's pretty exciting to see people headed back out to the moon for the first time in 53 years. And I have to say the launch this week was fantastic from Florida. It was a daytime launch, so it really showed up much better than the first Artemis launch a few years ago, and it was quite impressive to behold.
And and for everyone, I've kind of set the table for this. Effectively, what the Artemis 2 is effectively shuttle technology reused. It's the same boosters. You've got oxygen, hydrogen, the big orange tank. You do have a different, payload structure. We're not carrying a winged glider on its side. We've got the old, effectively upscaled Apollo Orion capsule on top with an escape mechanism. But it is finicky, Eric. It does occasionally get glitches because of that technology. True.
It does, and that's why it was so impressive that the rocket launched on the first try on Wednesday from Florida. It counted right down and went off near the top of the launch window. So it was really a pretty good success for NASA. And I think the launch caught a lot of people off guard. I don't think, a lot of Americans and certainly people around the world realized that we were actually, heading back to the moon with people. But it's true, they're going to be there on Monday. And it's, as I say, it's really quite spectacular, and it's a great moment for the country.
Okay, Eric, one last question. I'll give it to the other Eric. All right, so it's been 54 years since Apollo 17 hit the surface of the moon. That was 1972. So we're going back, okay? And what I said in my post was, when I was a kid, and of course Eric and Ben, we were all there in 1968 to see the first pictures of the Earth from Apollo 8 when they were looking back, and they read Genesis on New Year's Eve. It would be really nice if somebody would read something on Easter, by the way. I wonder if they'll do that. But more importantly, that had a quarter of the world's population watching it live. I mean, you talk about for all mankind. I mean, that was an incredible moment. And even the 69, the actual landing, had 650 million people watching. It was about a fifth of the world's population just a year later. I mean, so that is the marker against what we're being measured. So it's pretty tough to measure up to that, right, Eric?
Absolutely, and this mission is not having the cultural impact that the Apollo program did in the 1960s for a lot of reasons. For one, it's a very, very different media landscape today than it was back then. But there are other reasons as well, such as, well, we've been there and done that. Nevertheless, I do think that this is pretty significant. NASA laid out plans actually last week to build a base on the surface of the moon. They have finally ditched the terrible idea of building a lunar space station. They've ditched upgrades to the Space Launch System rocket, so they're really focusing actually on getting back to the surface of the moon and getting to the use of commercial rockets, reusable rockets and spacecraft as quickly as possible. That's why, I feel really positive about this mission. I think it is a sort of a down payment or a first step on a pretty great plan to settle and develop on the moon.
Now, Eric, you were at the mission briefings and stuff, and one of the inside things that you've mentioned that I don't think it's been covered is SpaceX actually lent a launch team to help get the rocket ready. True?
Yeah, they brought in a couple of the senior SpaceX people who had worked at Starbase and elsewhere to kind of help oversee the fueling of the rocket, and I think that may be partly why it went a little more smoothly this time, because obviously SpaceX has a lot of experience in the last 5 to 10 years of launching hundreds of rockets.
Now, and humorously, For All Mankind, that's a very hot, science fiction show on I think Apple TV. It's in its fifth season, and the fun part about this is, it's an alternate history using a lot of actors over the last 50 years that play actual real people and a lot of fictional characters. But the whole thing started as a race between the Russians and the Americans, except instead of their moon rocket blowing up on the pad, I think it was ours, and then a group they called Helios, which was really, it's thinly disguised SpaceX, okay? They're in the mix too, so it's been really quite a melodrama over 50 years. But here, SpaceX comes out and they help the guys because they want to see success too, right?
Yeah, and honestly, SpaceX, it's interesting. I think, Paul, this is the last fully NASA mission that we are going to see in our lifetimes, because it's just using the SLS rocket and Orion. All future missions are going to have a lander either from SpaceX or Blue Origin, and over time we're going to actually transition to launching Orion on private rockets as well. So this is a mission that both looks back to Apollo, but also really looks forward, I think, to an interesting and different future than we've had before.
Eric, a couple of things. This is Eric. First of all, I know the audience doesn't know how old I am, but let me put this in perspective. When the moon landing was, with 50 plus years ago, I was already licensed to practice law 2 years. I just want you to know. I want you to know.
And he hasn't learned anything since then. I don't know.
Now, Eric, how many? I found that launch. Maybe it's because I haven't been watching all of them and less interested in SpaceX than I have been in NASA in the past. But is this the most exciting one? How does it rate in terms of excitement or the sound around it, or what were your feelings about it?
I feel like I've been to a lot of pretty awesome launches. This felt like the most consequential one to me because I was born 4 months after the last lunar landing, so I missed out on all the fun back with the Apollo program. And so sort of being there at the dawn of this new program and knowing where it could go. Obviously, the Space Launch System is a big rocket, so you get a lot of sound, a lot of light, a lot of noise. But I think it just sort of more of the historic nature for me was pretty overwhelming.
Not to quote a song, but did the Earth move beneath your feet? Could you feel? Could you feel
like with the space shuttle, but even more so because the solid rocket boosters are even bigger. You can really feel that rumble for about 30 seconds after liftoff, and it's impressive.
And to me, I've been to a couple launches. Okay, the last one was the last night launch of the shuttle, and it was brilliant. Okay. You see some of the clips, Eric, where people are really excited because they were flying by. I think a professional sports team, a Costa Rican flight. They got some great pictures of that. Because that's Morton Thiokol technology on the solid rocket boosters, but it looks like it's upsized by what, 25%, 50%? I can't.
Yeah, they've added another booster segment, so it's about 20% more powerful than the original space shuttle boosters. And you're right, that technology is half a century old.
All right, can we take a break, Eric, and hold you for another segment? Because we got some more questions. I know Ben does, and
you bet.
All right, good. We're gonna take a break and let the Soul Man ask some questions, and get your calls in at 281-558-5738 or 281-558 KSEV or pound KSEV for those Verizon callers. We'll be back with the Sci Guy and the Three Amigos, as promised, next here on The Voice of Texas.
This is Brian Kilmeade. Tune in every weekday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. for the Brian Kilmeade Radio Show on The Voice of Texas.
Eric. Hey, Eric. Are you there, Eric? Are you there?
No, you know why I'm not here? I was dreaming of, listen to this. It was like dreaming of tiki torches and outdoor barbecues with the fire pit.
Oh, well,
and this cool, crisp weather. I couldn't think. I'm sorry, I was in this daydreaming state, thinking of gas products, wanting to make sure that my backyard was ready to go for this beautiful week we've got coming up.
Wow, that isn't bad.
Are you done?
Maybe filibustering.
Ben, just get out the phone number because Eric sold it.
If you want to satisfy Eric's dream, call Russell at Gas Product Services,
and then invite
281-798-8006. Check out those products that Eric is dreaming about. You can go to gasproductservices.com. I'm talking about fireplace, gas logs, outdoor fire features, indoor, outdoor, and if your grill is clogged up like mine is constantly, because you know what, I'm a slob and I haven't cleaned it in about 5 years, call my buddy Russell Metzler at 281-798-8006, and he'll fix it up. And while he's there, he'll probably show you where you can put those tiki torches to make your backyard be fantastic. Folks, I'm telling you, he knows what he's doing. Even Eric dreams about him. Gas Product Services. Give him a call.
Tune in each Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for On the Money with your host and CEO of Allied Wealth Texas, Ryan Wheelis, who can help you live your richest life possible during your retirement years. That's each Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on AM 700 KSEV.
Hey, it's Joe Pags. Are you ready for the latest news of the day? We're talking about local, state, international. We're going to be all over it. Plus, we're going to give you the proper spin, which means we're going to tell you the truth. You don't get that from a lot of outlets, but on the Joe Pags Show, we promise to always bring the truth before we give you any commentary. Plus, we open the phone lines to hear from you as well. Doesn't matter what the topic is. We're going to be all over it. Plus, we're going to make you think, going to make you angry, going to make you smile, might make you laugh, might even get you to sing along. Don't miss even 1 second of the Joe Pags Show right here on KSEV and KGBC. Still the voice of Texas.
Elvis. It is now or never. Elvis recorded this in 1960 on this date. How about that?
Kiss me, my darling. And here's to you, Mrs.
And Simon & Garfunkel released Bookends, one of the great albums in 1968, released on this date. How about April the 3rd? Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs. You know Woolly Boy? You never heard Sam the Sham?
We were going up in time. Now we just retrograded.
Well, not too
We're
far
on a
back.
retrograde orbit,
I'm going to
Eric.
give you something now.
Baton Rouge, waiting for a train.
Went to number 1 on this date, 1971. Janis Joplin.
Janis.
Me and
Her
Bobby
last
McGee.
her last big hit, actually.
Before she passed away.
Right.
They wrote us all the way.
Yeah, the Bee Gees. Released this song, of course, during the disco era, or era, in case you feel that way.
Bee Gees.
It went straight to number 1, the Bee Gees. 1967, the Turtles, and this is a true story, debuted this song at my fraternity's party, the Spring Fling in 1967. CBT House, University of Arizona. They released, this is when they debuted this song.
You were there live?
I was there live, 1960.
Wow.
We had the Turtles at my fraternity house for our Spring Fling. Absolutely.
Wow.
Historical
That's
moment.
rock and roll history.
That's University of Arizona history. That's why everyone should go there, trust me.
I'll give you 2 homer wahoos for that. It must have been quite a
Great
party.
songs.
Quite a party.
We had the Beach Boys, my first year.
What you did?
Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
And we had the Turtles. Not bad.
Well, that explains why your 55 years of being licensed by the state of Texas has been less than productive.
Paul, just so everyone knows, talk about 52 years ago, 55 years I will have been licensed by the state bar this coming Tuesday, April 7th.
You know, Eric, I'm a baby. I've only been done this for 20. I've only been licensed for 25 years.
And when
so let's get
Eric back on. But
yeah.
Eric, are you impressed with it or depressed? Which?
Oh, I'm very impressed by the depth of your experience and expertise.
All right, and speaking of expertise, okay, where do we go from here? We've got, the candle's been lit, everything worked, the solid rocket booster's 20% bigger, the 4 big engines underneath, propelled this thing. I think we were 18,000 miles an hour, well above escape velocity. We're now 15,000 miles above the Earth. Now, here's the key question, Eric. Does it become the farthest from Earth for a manned capsule, or one of the Apollo missions going to beat it out by 1,000 miles? What do we got?
It will become the furthest spacecraft to travel from Earth by a couple of thousand miles on Monday. When it goes behind the moon, it will just barely beat out Apollo 13 in that regard.
Right, because by then Apollo 13 was literally hauling ass to get back home, so it was on a wide turn to go back as fast as it could go. And if anybody saw the movie, it wasn't quite necessarily, it wasn't computer, forecasted because they had lost. They actually had to do that burn manually. All right.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, go, Ben.
Yeah, I got a couple questions for Eric. Hey, Eric, I'm actually joining you from our remote orbiting location, satellite KSEV station above the Katy Freeway today. But I wanted to ask you, it was very impressive what NASA accomplished. You said earlier in one of your comments that the NASA changed plans, and they originally were going to do a lunar orbiting spaceport as a way station for planetary travel, and they switched it, I think, back to a lunar-based way station. Is that one of Isaacson's first decisions major decisions since he took over?
That is probably the most significant thing he's done. Yes, he sort of went in and looked at the program in total, and you know, certainly from my perspective and looking at these things, made some very shrewd decisions about sort of maximizing our chances to both beat China back to the moon and actually do something meaningful on the surface of the moon. And he was quite impressive in that he was able to go to Congress and particularly convince people like Senator Ted Cruz that this was the right thing to do. I mean, Congress has championed this lunar gateway for a decade, and he was able to go in a matter of weeks and sort of come up with a plan actually and say, hey, let's build a base on the surface of the moon instead. Here's how we're going to do it. And if we do this, we really don't need the lunar gateway, and we can actually use those resources for a better purpose.
Because he's a winner, not a loser. You have to be a loser to take that deal because you don't want anything in lunar orbit. You want to come and go rapidly. We have the space station. We don't need that.
Yeah. So
I mean, do you want to be at the lunar gateway looking down at the Chinese on the moon, or do you want to be down there competing with them?
Bingo. You want to be on the beyond the lunar surface and not by watching them. Okay.
Right. And Eric, can you compare for me the rockets and booster that SpaceX is working on down in Boca Raton with Artemis 2 in terms of capability and what they're each, trying to achieve? I think a lot of people think that they're competing, but the reality is they're not really competing at all.
Yeah, the Space Launch System rocket can carry about 70 to 80 metric tons to low Earth orbit. Starship is, twice that or more. The biggest difference, though, is that Starship is intended to fly often and be rapidly reusable. And so, SpaceX is talking about launching hundreds of these a year, and NASA's stretch goal is to be able to launch one SLS rocket every 10 months. And the other big difference, of course, is cost. The SLS rocket in Orion costs about $4 billion per launch.
That's billion.
And SpaceX is looking to sort of launch Starship for 1/100th of that cost.
Right.
But Starship is limited to Earth orbit?
Nope. No. And the SLS just goes to low Earth orbit too. The Starship is intended to actually go up to low Earth orbit, be refueled, and then go on to the moon.
Yeah,
that's what I had thought, that there was a booster capability that he intended to use a refueling station to get to the moon and beyond.
Well, but see, Ben,
that's exactly right.
That's right, but the whole thing is that's why you want a refueling station in Earth's orbit. You don't want it all the way out at the moon. It doesn't do you any good there. You've got to get, once you get out of terrestrial gravity is where you want to refuel and go. And this is also just even including not just liquid fuels. We can have plasma, we can have atomic. There's all sorts of other options that get us, somewhere once you get out up to at least low Earth orbit.
Ben, let me tell you what Isaacman did. He took the main element of the lunar gateway, and he said, you know what? We're not going to use this for a space station anymore. We're actually going to put nuclear thermal propulsion on this and send it to Mars and drop helicopters on the surface of Mars to explore it. So that's some pretty cool thinking, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's very creative. Yeah,
So
Eric, one more question. And I can't remember the numbers, but when this SLS started and was first proposed, I remember like a $2 billion number to get to the first launch. Do you know where we ended up, or am I correct in making in my recollection?
You're off by a factor of 10, but Eric, tell them. Okay.
I don't think that the total cost. The total cost was probably something like $8 to $10 billion, and they were going to fly it in 2017, and they were off by 5 years, and the cost is like $30 to $40 billion,
right.
like that. So it's It's obscene.
Right, and from here on out, you've got a $4 billion launch cost with the effectively with the NASA version, and then you've got what is effectively if I've got my numbers right, $40 million Starship launch.
Yeah.
So the idea.
But
That's
to
just an
NASA's credit,
incredible difference in terms
the
of
rocket
launch
has
cost.
worked very well. Launched twice, and it's it's done its job. It's just we cannot have a real moon program if we just launch once every year at that kind of a cost.
Okay, now factual is this: the reason why it exists with the effectively the old shuttle technology is because that's all the political interest involved. You've got the entire delegation of this state or others. They make the solid rocket booster or the tank or you pick it.
That was a political deal made by Texas Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison and Florida Senator Bill Nelson back in 2010.
Right, in 2010. So that's what froze that there. And that also is a recognition of what was the old fuel technology, which is oxygen, hydrogen, coming together for an exothermic reaction. It doesn't have the new fuel, which effectively is kerosene and whatever.
And now methane, yeah.
Yeah, now methane. But the exciting stuff is some of these nuclear, engines will be what we need to actually go explore the rest of the solar system. Now, speaking of exploring, Eric, I got to ask you this. In the middle of all this, and and I know you're a skeptic. So I'm preloading what I know. What the question is. But there are headlines everywhere because not just one U.S. rep, now Tim Burkett, has basically launched, and he's all over, and I know everybody at the Cape was reading this stuff because they had to be, that he said American people would be up all night worrying if they knew he's been briefed about what is in extraterrestrial life. I've been briefed by just about every alphabet agency there is, and I'll just say this. If they were to release the things that I've seen, you'd be up night worrying and thinking about this stuff. Now, at this point, and he's a member of the House Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets, and he said he had a briefing 2 weeks ago, and that the country about extraterrestrial life that would have set the earth on fire, quote, and unglued the country, and everybody would demand answers.
Like they're going to fire on us while we're up there?
Well, no, I don't think so. The previous congressman talked about all the films of the basketball-size orbs across the globe. Eric Berger, Sci Guy, what do you say when a task force member comes out and on the task force of declassification of federal secrets, and he comes public with stuff like that? What's the buzz in the community on the Cape?
I mean, the buzz is that there's been this kind of talk forever. And if there's evidence, let's see it. And so anyone working to declassify this evidence and bring it, sort of shed some sunlight on it, I applaud them. Until I see that evidence, I'm going to remain pretty skeptical.
Yeah. Well, but I tell
Democrats would rather see the Epstein files.
Well, first of all, that was a Republican House member, by the way.
Well, I know, and this is the second one because the guy from Missouri.
You guys would rather talk about boogeymen up in space. Okay.
Well, no, it's not boogeyman because the previous guy, who's the guy from Missouri, Eric? He talked about he's on this committee too, and
Republican.
Yeah, another Republican, and they've seen. Well, Eric, you've seen the Predator drone in the Middle East. You've seen that video of what appears to be an orb or two flashing by, okay, for a long time on camera. So somebody's got some technology somewhere that beats the current NASA technology. Let's put it that way. That's at least that's my view as a non-skeptic.
I sure hope they keep their eyes open up there.
All right. So Eric, you don't even believe the videos that are out?
I think the videos are real. In most cases, I believe there are alternative explanations. And again, I have yet to see, evidence that convinces me that we are seeing, something of an extraterrestrial nature.
Well, I've been hinting about this, Eric. I've been hinting. I'm talking to this Eric over here. I've been hinting and hinting that I'm going to release this stuff. So just watch it.
Just release the Epstein files
Well,
first.
forget it. This is a much bigger story.
Well,
Eric, this is the story of humanity lifetime.
Well,
the biggest news breaking, and I'm going to do it sometime soon.
Good. We Erics will stand firm on this.
No,
we're going to stand.
right.
We're going to stand firm. I mean, guys, come on.
I don't know. We've seen enough of these orbs where something's going on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Eric, give us the Okay, so all right, final question. Okay, all right, we've got 10 days. We're flying. We're going to be flying as far as humanity ever has. It's going to go further out than Apollo 13. They're going to loop back, and then they come and land on April the 10th, right?
They land in the ocean like the old like they hit the ocean.
Well, but this one's a hotter deal. It's not going to be as hot as Artemis 1, but it's coming in faster and a steeper angle than Apollo. True?
That's right. And so let me give people just a couple of things to really pay attention to. I think, first of all, next Monday afternoon is going to be very exciting. The crew is going to go around the far side of the moon and sort of have cameras and sort of eyes on the moon, very close up, areas that, lots of areas people really haven't, looked at before. So again, Monday would be very exciting, and then Friday, April 10th, Friday evening, they're going to splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego. The Artemis 1 heat shield, that mission 3.5 years ago, had some pretty serious problems with the heat shield. This protects the spacecraft as it comes to the atmosphere. And so that's going to be a bit of a pucker moment, and be really interesting, I think, for people to follow along with that on April 10th.
Are they frogmen? Is it the old-fashioned frogmen that jump in the water?
It's going to be right off the coast of California, in the same area that Ben and I took a tailhook and visited the Carl Vinson, right, Ben? It's
Correct.
Yeah, in that area right off San Diego coast. So it's going to be really cool. All right. Well, we have no one better to take us through all this than the Sci Guy. If you want to get more in depth on Eric's take on and the importance of this mission, go ahead, go back to my Facebook post at Vote Betancourt. Can't miss it. It's got about 50,000 views, Eric, and climbing, because everybody wants to know about your take on Artemis 2. Let's give him a send-off on his traditional. Do we have it? Of course we do. I mean, who else? Eric, who else treats you like this? Come on. You've got your own theme song.
You guys are the best. Hey, have a wonderful Easter weekend.
Yeah, same to you and your family.
Your summary on the 10th.
Same to you, Eric.
Okay. All right, take care, Ray.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to blast the Sci Guy off to the Next Generation Star Trek theme. And we're going on all your calls at 281-558-5738. What did you think about what the Sci Guy had to say? We're right there waiting for your call. 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. The three Amigos will be back after this on The Voice of Texas.
Hey, it's Joe Pax coming up. It'll be Lindy Lee. She made the big switch from Democrat to Republican and hasn't looked back. We check in with her a couple of years later. And Colin Brown, paranormal investigator and true crime creator, blowing things up on YouTube and more on The Joe Pags Show. Tonight at 7 on KSEV and KGBC. Still the voice of Texas.
Does your company need to be compliant with U.S. Coast Guard 2022-0802? Do you require an independent third-party vendor for penetration testing? If you do, call Tactical Cyber Services at 713-229-0030 or go online to tacticalcyberservices.com. We can work with your internal IT group or your security vendor like Whit O'Brien to make sure your documentation is compliant. Call 713-229-0030 today.
I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg with your KFC Weekend Weather Update. Saturday will be cloudy with periods of rain and a thunderstorm in the afternoon. The temperature will reach a high of 82 degrees. The Colonel made irrationally delicious chicken. He also made irrationally irresponsible decisions about prices. That's why the KFC $7 box feast comes with a KFC snacker, 5 nuggets, fries, and a drink, all for just $7. Prices and participation may vary.
And welcome back to the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining Friday, Good Friday drive home afternoon with Three Amigos. Then the Soul Man, the true Houston on the right. We got the taxman Paul Betancourt at the helm. The liberal lefty judge Eric Gandel there sitting around, happy about the poll numbers. I need to check those here. And, of course, you can join us on YouTube TV because we're live streaming, and also on Facebook and Rumble, right?
Right, courtesy of Craig Collins, who's hanging out there. Hey, Craig, thank you. He's got his own show at 6 o'clock after the Amigos. And we've got some callers here, so producer El Supremo Gary, get Willie on and keep Ben on. Willie, you're on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us.
President Trump said we completely eliminated Iran's air defense systems.
He did.
So how did they get those? How did they get those planes down? Did they throw rocks at them or something?
They threw rocket-propelled, if you pardon the pun, okay, shoulder-armed weapons, including probably something like a Stinger, maybe I don't know if they have any of the old American versions, but I'm sure they have a Chinese or Russian knockoff.
Yeah, so Willie, whose name is probably not Willie, if I thought you were really interested in an explanation, I would give you one. Even when you have air supremacy, that doesn't mean complete safety. And our pilots fly in danger.
But we
all the
already
time,
won the war.
And it's just part of war, man. And unfortunately, I hope they find this pilot. But there's going to be casualties in a war. What you refuse to admit, and what people like you refuse to admit, is that the costs of what we're doing are worth what we're doing. And you don't imagine a world where Iran has nuclear weapons, or they may be allowed another year or two to develop 10 or 20,000 more ballistic missiles, or they spend the next couple of years reinforcing and reinvigorating all of the militias that have been degraded and destroyed by both the United States and Israel over the last couple of years. I realize you don't think it's worth it, but you do not want to live in that world. You do not want to live in that world.
Willie, I give you one response. Come on.
As someone who used to live in Israel, trust me, I have no love lost for the Iranian regime. My issue is that we have Beavis and Butthead running this war. I mean, Trump and Hegseth, can we have two bigger morons running the thing?
Could not.
We already won the war, didn't we?
Okay, well,
so
we're having a
90% of
partisan
Israelis support this. 90% of Israelis are behind what Israel is doing in Iran. 90%.
I just told you, so am I. My issue is with the two people running it. We have two of the stupidest people around.
You don't want Israel going to war without the United States behind them. It would be a much bigger project.
Well, and Willie, look, it's either working and it's not, and and Eric and you obviously say it's not. And time will eventually tell all this.
Am I speaking?
Right?
Am I speaking a foreign language?
Willie, I think I'll let you go figure that out over the weekend. But no, as far as I know, you're speaking English. We're just not going to always agree. But thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and happy Passover, Willie.
Yep.
You can't. There's no win here. There's a gain, but the win is now. You leave. You declare a victory because there's nowhere else to go. You can't do anything else now. Except blow up bridges, just blow up infrastructure to no gain.
Yeah, well, if you believe Trump, which I know you don't, he's talking about
another 2 to 3 weeks. Of course I don't. How could anyone, honestly? I mean, seriously?
Because he changes on the fly. But, his last conversation with himself said it was going to last another 2 to 3 weeks. And he isn't as preoccupied about guaranteeing, passage of crude oil through the Straits of Hormuz as the Europeans are, who are so dependent because of their idiotic energy policy.
Eric,
and the Chinese.
Eric, we don't need it. We've got our stuff, and that Europe could buy from us.
That's why you leave.
Because
he really
they could,
believes that.
And we'll give them a great deal on the barrel cost. And so you're missing the point.
We can't win anymore. It's a guerrilla warfare. It's over. Go, leave, save some soldiers. Let's not lose anybody else. There's no gain. We've won. Go.
If there's
now, wait a minute. Now hold on, Eric. Wait a minute.
If Eric is accurate,
Well, I know. I'm just saying, if we've won,
go.
Then why are you, Billy, and you and
I don't
Willie saying
Billy,
that you
well,
don't?
because
you
because,
disagree when he
because
says
that
we've
win-
won.
Well, because,
so which one is it?
No,
which
because,
win is it?
Because we all know, and the voters know, there's no win there. You just do what you've done.
Well, you just said it.
Well, that's correct. I said it like Trump would say it. You say you've won, you go. You've won. Go.
Ben,
no one believes he's won. No one even believes this.
I've got rabbit hole problems here, like Alice in Wonderland. Help me
Yeah,
out.
I know it's bad. It's look, if Trump leaves, we will have won.
You have won. Go. Scoot. Don't lose any more soldiers. We've had it. It's over. Just go. Go home.
All right.
You can't do anything more. You can't put troops on the ground. You can't control the situation anymore. You can blow up some more bridges.
Now, what do you think about Carg Island?
No.
Ben?
No, very dangerous. No.
Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
no, Ben.
Maybe.
No.
Well, because it's tougher than it looks, even
Oh,
though.
I mean,
right, no,
goodness gracious.
But you would own the oil supply of 90% of the oil supply of Iran.
We don't need their oil supply, remember?
But it's tougher, right, at that point in time because it's an entrenched target. Well, speaking of go, we're going to go, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about national news. We're going to talk about the polling. We're going to talk about the Supreme Court hearings. We've got Lean Hidalgo to talk about. We've got all sorts of things for another hour. So why don't you get your calls in 281-558-5738 because the three amigos will be back with another hour next here on The Voice of Texas.
You're listening to The Voice of Texas, AM 700 KSEV Tomball and AM 1540 KGBC Galveston.
March, a rebound from a dismal February. The unemployment rate for March dropped to 4.3%. Companies have been reluctant to hire because of higher interest rates, uncertainty over President Donald Trump's policies, and not knowing how artificial intelligence will affect their businesses. Most economists say the impact of the Iran war and higher energy prices are probably not fully reflected in last month's numbers. Donna Warder, Washington.
2 U.S. military planes were shot down in separate incidents on Friday, escalating tensions in the ongoing conflict. One fighter jet was shot down in Iran. A U.S. crew member was rescued, but another remains missing. Separately, Iranian state media reported a U.S. A-10 attack aircraft crashed into the Persian Gulf. We're learning of a health episode involving one of the Supreme Court's conservative justices. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The High Court spokeswoman says Justice Samuel Alito fell ill at an event in Philadelphia last month and was treated for dehydration before returning home to suburban Washington. The Supreme Court statement says Alito's illness did not require an overnight hospital stay, and he was back on the bench the following Monday. Alito, who turned 76 this past week, is the second oldest member of the Supreme Court after 77-year-old Justice Clarence Thomas. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The White House is releasing details of President Donald Trump's 2027 budget, including a $1.5 trillion defense spending request. No activity on Wall Street today due to Good Friday. More at Town Hall.
If your investments are in a 401k or an IRA, then listen carefully. You spent 30, maybe 40 years building your retirement. The question is, are you about to watch it take a hit you can't recover from? Military escalation in Iran, tariffs in legal chaos, the U.S. dollar under pressure it hasn't seen in years. History is clear. When this much uncertainty hits at once, the investors who moved into gold and silver first came out ahead. Right now, Advantage Gold is offering a free gold investment kit and a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's powerful new book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty free through Advantage Gold. Don't wait for the next surge to wish you had moved sooner. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
New body camera footage from Tiger Woods' car crash and arrest show a possible name drop of President Trump. We hear more on this story from sports correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh reporting.
After crashing his SUV last week in Florida, Tiger Woods took out his phone and told a deputy, quote, "I was just talking to the president." That's according to newly released body camera footage that also shows that Woods appeared astonished as he was handcuffed. It's not clear if Woods was referring to President Donald Trump. Woods said he was looking at his phone when his speeding Land Rover clipped a truck and rolled onto its side. The video also shows that deputies found painkiller pills in Woods' pocket after the crash. Woods entered a not guilty plea on Tuesday to suspicion of driving under the influence. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
From KSEV, here's political contributor Ben Strusand.
For 47 years, the Islamic leaders running Iran have waged war against the United States and its allies, killing Americans, taking hostages, and attempting assassinations of American leaders. After losing a 12-day war with Israel, the Iranian regime was reconstituting its ballistic missile and drone forces, adding around 100 a month, and moving its highly enriched uranium from sites destroyed by the U.S. to safer areas in order to continue their nuclear weapons program. The Trump administration attempted to negotiate a deal offering to provide free enriched uranium for peaceful energy use, but the Iranians refused to give up their centrifuges or their ballistic missiles. They had no intention of changing course. As in the past, the Iranian strategy was to drag out the negotiations until someone not named Trump was in charge, and who can blame them? Other presidents issued warnings and drew red lines, but Trump, rather than waiting for the regime to rebuild its forces, decided to act again. Democrats and their media allies are asking, why now? What justifies a U.S. attack? They are right to claim that the threat was not imminent, but it was constant. Trump, believing that the regime was weakened by the war with Israel and facing an uprising domestically, felt the timing was right and decided to decapitate their leadership and eliminate the threat. Unquestionably, the regime is entrenched. They have millions of followers and they have nowhere to go. Removing all of them may be impossible. Nevertheless, a government run by homicidal maniacs seeking martyrdom in the name of Allah just can't be allowed to gain the tools necessary to implement their vision. Whether we do it now or later makes no difference. It must be done. Both the Democrats and Tucker Carlson are wrong. This is not a forever war. This is not a war of choice. It is a war of no choice. Comparisons to Iraq are dishonest, meant to scare stupid people because despite the 47-year history of evidence, beginning with the hostages taken at our embassy, stupid people still think that this regime can be appeased or deterred or negotiated with. They fail to understand the character of the clerics in charge. When they chant death to America, they really mean it. No one should shed a tear about their elimination. So please, we know you hate Trump, but stop rooting for the other side. I'm Ben Strusand, and that's my view.
Ben Strusand, only on AM 700 KSEV.
One for each other and all for one. The free brave amigos are we.
Andale, amigos.
Brother to brother and everyone, a brave amigo, and amigos forever will be.
That's right, it's Amigos Forever here on the Voice of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a special Good Friday Amigos here on the Voice of Texas. You've got the Taxman, El Senador, Paul Betancourt, the soul man of the previous Struview, Ben Struzan, and the effervescent, ever ready, Judge Eric Andel. Get your calls in to producer El Supremo Gary at 281-558-5738. Tons going on this week. We just had a great hour with the side guy about Artemis 2. You can catch that on whatever social media.
Ben
Craig
knows all the names.
Right, Craig's got set up. Craig, what do you got set up already? All right, so just go check for KSEV and the Amigos and the Side Guys. So we've got all that up and waiting for you to go look at. Plus, you've got mine at paulbetancourt.com or Vote Betancourt on Facebook. I've been promoting that too. All right, so good first hour. Hey, Ben, keep the dogs out, will you? All right? Okay, that's not bad.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah, right. Who let the dogs out? I'm not getting a laugh out of Gary though. All right, tons going on. Low polling numbers for the Trumpster. Obviously, the Supreme Court is signaling that they probably are not going to go with the executive order on birthright citizenship. We've got $111 oil coming at everybody starting on Thursday and then through the weekend. Gas prices are up nationally over $4. The political polling is not good. We got clips, Ben, or what say you?
Polling?
Yeah, we got clips. I also have the polling for you guys.
Read it.
On whether or not the American voter approves the military action against Iran. Basically, there's a 15-point up. They're 15-point upside down. 50 against, 35 in favor.
Remember, 2 weeks ago it was 4 points.
And Ben, the key stat is what does the independent voter say?
Paul, I don't have that broken out, but there's no way you get to these numbers without the independents going against you.
Yeah, right. And they're going to go hard, like net 30 or more. Okay, I think the numbers they were looking at were like net 38s. And to folks, what net 38 means is that basically you've got a situation where it's 68-30, 2 undecided, something like that. It's a super majority people saying don't do it. Mm-hmm. Now, on the economy, those numbers have slipped dramatically for the president. I think he's down to
and that's about oil prices and linked to the war, Paul. And his overall job approval rating is the same, 15 points underwater. So basically, the numbers are coming in line with his overall. And I'll see if I can find the economy. I'll break that out for you in a second. I'm sure we can get that here. Just give me a second. But
then while you're
the same 15.
I would also be curious because even the hardcore Republicans, I saw that number dropping, not precipitously, but they're peeling. I mean, even the hardcore,
just a little, right.
Because the MAGA group was not pro-war anyway. That they didn't vote for him.
It's a shearing force because MAGA, as traditionally defined, is America First, non-involvement in foreign wars.
Which he ran on, Trump ran on.
Now, that MAGA base, which I'm going to say is 65% of the Republican Party, has been really solid with the Trumpster. So some of this peeling started in the other 35%, but there is a segment, and it's Tucker, that crew, that is very hostile to foreign wars. That's been, literally demonstrating on the right about it. Ben?
But that's a sliver, Paul, because every poll I've seen has the Republican base and 80% of Republican primary voters standing behind Trump and what he's doing. And by the way, that doesn't necessarily mean that overall people like his job, because on the economy, which we know is a lot to do about gas prices, he is 60% disapprove and 37% approve.
But remember, he was heading that direction before the oil thing.
I mean, there was one poll that was 31-60, okay, on like immigration as well. All these numbers are trending in the wrong direction because while you hold on to, let's say, 80% of the Republican base solidly, when you start building up those type of net negative numbers, and the real problem is this, it's how long this stuff bakes in. Ben was talking about it because if this stuff bakes in through April and in May, by June you've got a real problem.
And your summer travel and everything's more expensive.
You got a real problem. That's why people that are out there, like if you've got good news, you want to be sharing it now in the second quarter because people will listen to good news in the second quarter, and that's really a part of the issue at this point in time. Lots going on. Now, quick comment before we take some calls. We got Roscoe, we got John, little room on the phone, 281-558-5738. We'll take them in about 1 minute. tell me what you thought of the Supreme Court hearing. Literally, you had the Trumpster go with Pam Bondi. You could tell he didn't like what he saw. Bondi is out literally within an hour after that. But it looks like the Supremes were pretty critical of the Solicitor General.
Their interpretation of what they're what they have to say something.
Right.
They had not a pretty good argument. I'm just saying they had an argument. It wasn't like they went in there naked. I mean, they had an argument.
No, they did, and the Solicitor
some
General
of the judges,
presented.
some of the judges questioned that in a positive light. I'm sure that Clarence Thomas. I'm going to bet
he's going to get some votes.
It's not going to.
But here's the big problem with all this: is the Trumpster is doing by executive order. There's a lot of frustration, and I know, Craig, you were talking about it on your show earlier today. There's a lot of frustration of why this stuff just can't happen. Why do we have this problem? Why can't we just fix it? Why does the court interrupt? Or it's like the executive order on voter rolls. Okay. I mean, that's probably going to have a short shelf life too. And it's not because the federal Congress just doesn't pass any of this, Ben. They don't pass bills anymore. So the Trumpster's leaning in on executive orders, and he's taking a risk because the judicial branch could pop him on this stuff. You agree, Ben?
Yeah. I mean, because it wouldn't surprise me if the Supremes just come out and say something like, you can't, if you want to do this, you can't do it by executive order. You got to do it with an act of Congress. That wouldn't surprise me. By the way, Eric, I drug this clip out of back when you were in your prime. I know you want to hear it. Boys, do we have that clip on birthright citizenship that I can play? Can we tee that up and play it for Eric? Because, that guy.
1990.
Are you guys on that side? Are you
Harry Wright, 1993.
Are you on the Trump side of that?
On
citizenship?
He's saying that Harry Reid is. But could you find it or not? Never mind. He basically said in 1993, he's 100%.
I've got it. We've got it, guys. You got it for me. Come on, find it.
Well, are they looking
Find the clip, guys.
Okay, well, Craig is going to the board and trying
When
to
was
get it
that?
done.
I still may have not.
That's okay. Let's take a call or two in the meantime because we got Mono Dia coming on shortly. Hey, can you put Roscoe on and without taking Ben off? Roscoe, you're up next on The Voice of Texas. Come on.
President Trump said the Europeans should just simply buy oil from us, the U.S.
That's what he said.
I'm not an economist, but wouldn't that kind of raise gasoline prices here? I mean, I don't have my degree from Trump University School of Grift.
Thank you.
But
let me give
you help me understand that?
Roscoe, and if that's who you are, let me give you the actual numbers. We're a net exporter, okay? Now, we do import some heavy crude, which AKA sulfur, and we do refine it, like from Venezuela, because we've got refineries that can crack that heavy crude.
Import was surely a nice word there. Importing.
Right. But we're a total exporter in net because we've got all this sweet Permian crude that is, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and everybody should buy from us, Roscoe. And they should be buying natural gas, too, because we got a lot of that, and we charge a lot less than the Russians.
Yeah, so do I.
We can make a better deal, so we need to do all that. So thanks for the call. Have a good weekend. All right.
Well, does it raise prices? His question was an economic question.
No.
Does it raise prices?
No. Look, here, if it raised prices, Eric, it also means it would lower prices. And it's a world market right now, and there's a
to my
differential.
economist. I wasn't making
I'm giving
a point.
Ben a ringing bell. See, that's the truth.
That's what he was asking.
There's two. So the world crude oil is called Brent, which comes out of the Middle
North
East,
Sea.
and what comes out of the United States is mostly West Texas Intermediate. There's a spread. They roughly follow each other.
About
It's
$10
a world
right
market.
now.
If you lose demand, right? If you lose supply in the one, you affect supply in the other, and you end up with more demand going to the other. So pretty much they're going to be in sync unless this administration decides to do something radical and separate the two crudes, which I wouldn't surprise me if they're considering.
Well, but one thing that has not moved up, there's been no gas shock like the oil shock that we've had. Oil has gone up like 60% or more.
You know who's got lines is China.
China.
China's got gases.
China's got You know, Eric, China's got the problem, not the U.S. China's got the problem, not the U.S.
Well, they ought to make a call and open up the strait.
well, and they're quite capable of making that phone call.
I know they are.
And maybe they will soon. All right, let's get. Oh, sorry, I did it. Hey, I didn't take Ben off. I learned.
Nice.
John, you're up next on The Voice of Texas. Come on, John.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about the Iran war, but let me just correct one misunderstanding. The United States is a net exporter only when you take into account refined petroleum products. On a crude oil basis, the United States is a net importer of crude oil. That's a fact. I just want to correct that.
Well, wait, no, hold on. Let me make sure you understand. There's three versions of this, okay? We are a total net exporter because we do import the heavy crude that we can crack, especially on the Gulf Coast refineries. So, but when we combine that import versus compared to our Permian and all the other production, we're still the largest producer, like at 12 or 13, right? And
we're still a huge exporter
right, and
of
we're
natural
a huge
gas
export.
liquids and liquefied natural gas.
Right.
I'm only talking about the balance of trade in crude oil, not refined products. The balance of trade in crude, we import about 6 barrels for every 4 we export. That's a fact. Look it up. We don't need to argue about it, but that's the truth of the matter. I'd like to go to Judge
and
Andel's
that could be
point
true.
about-
And John, depending upon our demand internally, domestically, okay, because we import the heavy crude and we produce 12 to 13, we probably have a net export of 4. Pick a number. That's probably good math. All right, ask your question and go.
All right, Judge Andel, I wish you were correct that we could just simply stop and leave and the war would end. It would not. This war will not end until either Iran is destroyed or Israel is destroyed. The Iranians are not going to fall for any more negotiations. This is an existential battle.
Sure.
Iran seeks to survive. Israel seeks Iran's destruction. And this is not going to end until, I don't believe that Israel can destroy Iran or the United States and Israel, so this will end on Iran's terms. That's the way it's
basically what John is saying is a different version of what we've been saying, which is this. The problem with the Iranian regime right now is that the Revolutionary Guard owns almost everything.
Well, sure.
They own like 80% of the private property in Tehran. They own a lot of the domestic oil. There is no middle class that like owns this building we're broadcasting from or John's house, that maybe it's been rented out. None of that exists because Revolutionary Guard is into everything. So even in diminished circumstances, they're not going to fold because if they have to be bombed back into the Stone Age, they're still holding on to whatever money they can make.
They're 5,000 years in the making. We're 250. Our history
and Israel doesn't seek Iran's destruction. They seek regime change. That's the gold standard, regime change. And I agree with you. They're entrenched. If you heard my Strew view, I'm clear about that it's probably not possible to achieve regime change.
Okay, so John,
so there's going to have to be an alternative that works for everybody, and we have the luxury of having our net energy importer, and these other countries have much more severe economic problems if they're under or held hostage by the Iranians.
Right. So anyway, John, both you and the rest of us, good call. We all learned something. On both ways, because that's true. Because the Israelis really do. They just want regime change. They would love to have a democratic Iran.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Paul,
Who wouldn't?
Most of the reason why we still import on the West Coast and on the East Coast crude oil is because they're morons over there, and they'd rather import oil than anything else.
No, I agree because there's right.
They don't want pipeline.
Man,
they don't want pipeline.
No,
I thought they've lifted all that.
No, they're blocking the pipeline from the rig that's got the right off the Santa Barbara coast. They're trying to block the pipeline to take the stuff from the old Santa Barbara field and bring it into one of the LA refineries. I should have mentioned that too, because you've got the crude, the heavy crude for the U.S. refineries here that we can crack, but on California they're importing foreign oil because they won't let anything show up, even even their own crude off the coast within 1 mile, they won't let you pump it. It's pathetic, and that's why we still have this import issue. And we could.
Gavin Newsom will take care of that.
Yeah, like he will. All right. Speaking of taking care, we're going to have our next guest. He just got the Tough Tejano Award. Okay, let's take a break. We're going to get Representative Mano de Ion, who's going to talk about his Tough Tejano Award, and then he's going to talk about a not tough Tejano, your favorite girlfriend, Lena Hidalgo.
I don't want to hear any trash talk about my girlfriend.
I was interviewed on national radio by a great Dana. I think, was Dana there? I can't remember. It was either Dana, I can't remember, or it was Craig. Maybe it was both of them. And we talked Lena to a national audience. So let's hear from Mono and a local audience right after this on The Voice of Texas.
This is Guy Benson, and you're listening to the home of The Guy Benson Show, weekday afternoons, 2 to 4 p.m. on The Voice of Texas.
For over 100 years, the American Legion has served veterans in our communities with a focus on 4 pillars: veterans and rehabilitation, Americanism, national security, and children and youth. All veterans who have served honorably, spouses of veterans, and sons of veterans may join a local post family. The 22nd District Department of Texas covers the Houston area with 13 Legion posts and auxiliary units from Katy through the South Houston region. Each post has a service officer to help veterans get needed services from the VA, assistance with job placement resources, family issues, PTSD, and more. We are known for our honor guard and burial honors, flag retirements, scholarship programs with the Oratorical Contest, American Legion Baseball, Boys and Girls State, Junior Sports Shooting Program, Wreaths Across America, and many community events for the family. If you are a veteran or related to a veteran, we encourage you to become a member of the American Legion today. For more information, please visit LegionDist22.com. We are Legion.
Hi, this is Paul Betancourt. Property values may have peaked, making 2026 a must year to protest your property taxes. Sign up with my excellent Betancourt tax advisor team at btanow.com, as our experienced senior property tax agents and customer service matter. The tax man says do it now.
Sign up with Betancourt Tax Advisors by going online to btanow.com or by calling Paul's professional property team at 713-263-6100.
Jim Clark, a.k.a. Check-A-Pro Joe here. Houston's best contractors, Houston's smartest homeowners. It all starts with the Check-A-Pro radio show. Now hear my show every Saturday at 7 a.m. right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
Hey, it's Joe Pags coming up. It'll be Lindy Lee. She made the big switch from Democrat to Republican and hasn't looked back. We check in with her a couple of years later. And Colin Brown, paranormal investigator and true crime creator, blowing things up on YouTube and more on the Joe Pags Show. Tonight at 7 on KSEV and KGBC. Still the voice of Texas.
And that's what we do every day on The Voice of Texas. We tell you the facts and where your money goes, especially when the three amigos rides into town. You got the tax man, the soul man, and the judge, and an aforementioned amigo of the program. Let's bring on Amano de Aya, who is the tough Tejano from the Texas Latino Conservatives. We'll give you a ringing bell, Mano. So, Mano, talk to us. I think Orlando Sanchez was the founder. He might have been the first tough Tejano, but I saw you get it yesterday, right. And well-deserved because you've had quite a few fights. Talk about it.
Well, we first of all, it was an honor to get the Tough Tejano Award, and I'm very familiar with TLC, Texas Latino Conservatives, having worked with them for a number of years before I was in office, and there have been some really good Tough Tejanos that have received that award. So being included in that was pretty cool, and it was an honor. It, those guys do a great job in what they do.
Well, and both you and I had some time because you got your award in. Then they had Tio Pablo do the keynote after you.
Right. And
both you and I talked about the issues that are out there that really everybody could use. Because the Democrat Party really is running on a fragmentation grenade of politics, Eric, for lack of a better description. These issues don't do well. I'll just give you a couple, okay? Photo ID. Oh, boy. 93% of Republicans think photo ID is good. 74.5% of Democrats think photo ID is good. About 80 some odd percent of independents. There's no answer. The Democrats don't have a reason why, except maybe they think.
We only have one answer right now,
which is no.
Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
No,
right.
Trump.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to run. We don't have to do very much at all right now. Seriously, I'm being very honest about that. I'm serious. We're ducking now. We don't have to answer any questions.
And the other one that I used was because Mono gave a list of 12 really good public policy. I just brought out that if the International Olympic Committee can say no men and women's sports, and they know XX versus XY, and they're not going to tolerate it, why are we doing it in any university, any school system over here? And again, is there any answer?
No, we don't. Now we don't need that answer. Mono knows that even the immigration, when you were ahead 80-20, 90-10, you blew it. I mean, you went on this rampage. It turned the public against it, whether it was good policy or bad policy. We're running against Trump now. Oh, we don't have to answer any questions. Seriously, I'm not being facetious.
No, I know.
I'm serious about that.
Well, and Mono, what say you, Mono?
Let me jump in because, if you go historically, and I was very involved and chaired for a number of years the Hispanic Republicans of Texas, and we worked very closely with Orlando's group, TLC, and others. And what we were seeing, and I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago, we're seeing that in places that are heavily populated, Latinos, the Valley and elsewhere in parts of Harris County and San Antonio and those places, there wasn't a Republican elected official for them to talk to, and we wouldn't show up. And so, their Democrat elected official, I mean, they didn't have horns on their heads. They didn't have fangs. They weren't evil people. They just didn't understand the contrast in the policies once we saw that Democrat Party radicalized like it has in the last 20 years. So once we go in and we make that contrast, it's easy. It's just easy, and that's why we're seeing so much change in this part of Texas. So back to what you're talking about, it's the common sense showing up and kind of explaining this is the policy. This may not be where what your Democrat is talking about at home, but when he goes to D.C. or Austin or somewhere else, that's what he's voting for. And until we let them know that, they don't know that. They're just, good people that are in their communities, and they show up to the fairs and that sort of thing.
Mono, there's two humorous points about this. One, Eric and I were going to run for literally at one point in time against each other for
county judge.
Now, at the time, as the tax assessor, I remember Bob Lanier showing me a poll that I had like 0 negatives in the Hispanic community because I was the guy that was, literally going to, Spanish newspapers telling them to stay in school, get a degree. Here's how you do your taxes, how to lower them, homestead exemptions and all that. Now, that was me, but that was one person in a county, which even back then had nearly 2 million registered voters. And we didn't have a farm team of people besides like Orlando, who was running at the time. He was in city council and actually run for mayor twice. There wasn't that big burst of Hispanic Republicanos. And because you obviously you didn't get elected to 22, but back in last decade, I can remember the Chronicle running a big piece. So effectively, Latina power, but they purposely left off like 13 Republicans off the list. We actually had more Hispanics that were elected for a while than Democrats did, because when we were still competitive on a countywide basis. Now we're coming back, but culturally, people didn't think it was, and I remember I wrote massive complaints. Actually published that because for a while we were getting Hispanics out of the Republican Party, out of the primary, faster than the Democrats were. You agree, Mono?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't by design. It was just happening, and you take that to the next level. I remember going to the Valley, Hidalgo County Republican, an event they had, and we went there, and I think it was when Donald Trump got COVID, and he had to cancel last minute. And so we went there, and we had the event anyway. And then I was hearing there was going to be 1,100 cars, 1,100 vehicles in the Trump rally parade that was scheduled for the next day. And what year was that? I'm blanking on my year.
No,
but,
it's like maybe 2020,
but I mean,
2021. I forget. It's somewhere in there.
Yeah. And so right then and there, you're thinking to yourself, this is real. This isn't a sometimes they say you rent your voters. These were voters that were bought. I mean, these voters were bought into to conservatism. And I think we're going to see that play out, here in the next at least few elections, unless something horrible happens.
No, but Mono, that's exactly where I was going with this, because I do want to ask you. First off, you're right. We saw the beginnings of voters, Hispanic voters in the Valley. They started moving conservative in 14. You could see it clearly in 16, no question about it. 18, 20. I mean, there's a build-up until effectively.
Well, Bush was getting good numbers.
Yeah, right. No,
Bush was kind of a turning
and then it
point.
dipped and it came back, but then by 24 it detonates, and effectively Trump's winning a majority of the vote.
And the Valley turns
red.
Yeah.
Now the problem, and I mentioned this, is because I'm always the type of guy that says, "Hey, here are the real facts." Right now, the White House and everybody has the same numbers. These special elections are about D plus 15, which are really bad numbers. Okay, that's like effectively a 42, 57, generic type of ballot. And that downdraft's real, and we've got to combat that, right, Bono?
Oh yeah, look. The good news is we see these headwinds, and we got plenty of time between now and November. It's what we do. Once we stop fighting against each other and start coming together and fighting against the real enemy, the real political policy, kind of what I call an anti-American sentiment enemy, and I'm not talking about every Democrat. I'm talking about this wing of Democrats that seem to be the loudest and seem to have some sway or more sway. That group is the easiest to win
Lean
against.
Hidalgo, the progressive socialist Democrats, right?
But the real issue, Mono, is, and I'm just sitting back watching it, it's the independents that have peeled away. And so your conversation with them has to be completely different than the radicalized, quote, Democrat. I mean, completely different. That's the key. Women, and guys.
That is the right answer.
Midterms is about against something. And now there's something that, Democrats want to be against. And people want to poke on one issue, one policy. What is it this week? It could be a tariff issue. It could be whatever it is, right? And all of a sudden, this midterm voter focuses on, well, I'm against that. I'm not necessarily for that, but I'm against this and this one thing. And like I said, we message well. We message the happy warrior, the optimist. There's a lot to be optimistic about. A ton to be optimistic about. And we just need to champion that.
And Mono, the caveat that Tio Pablo talked about was you're going to have those discussions at church, at work, at the water cooler, and because of the waterfall, this downdraft nationally, you're going to have to fire a couple rifle bullets to get through to people to realize it.
Right.
So pick your best issues. Photo ID. Pick no men and women's sports. Pick the big ones that are big deltas that people agree, because they're not going to listen to a whole litany of 12 reasons why you need to go back and work and vote Republicano. Do you agree, Mono? And I'll give you the last word.
Well, I do agree. I do also want to take credit for the name Tio Pablo. I think I deserve it.
That's right.
People at the luncheon were thinking that I was just saying that for the first time. I've been calling you Tio Pablo for a couple of years now. So you're welcome. You're an honorary member, and we won't need to make you pay rent.
Hey, I'll take it, because I thought it was time for somebody to bust Lena's chops. I heard that Lena's chief of staff was in the audience. It didn't change my view that she has to go, primarily because she actually tries to use being a woman and Hispanic to defend terrible behavior and bad decision making, and she's got no basis for it. Mono, you agree?
If you think about it, though, yeah, I do. If you think about it, what she did at the rodeo, if she would have just kept, she would have shown her ass a little bit, right? Just she was embarrassed, she did something wrong, bad protocol, bad form, all that stuff. Nobody would have made a big deal out of it. The fact that she was so unaware to publicize and attack the rodeo, it just blows my mind. That judgment is just so poor. And to do that, of course, the rodeo has to defend itself and say, no, let me tell you what really happened. And I take my hat off to the rodeo for defending themselves.
Yeah, you're not going to win that war.
No, you're not.
Every politician knows
now,
better
by the
than
way,
that.
the Chronicle and John Lomax has an article out today. Everybody will read it over the weekend. That who is the second biggest recipient of free tickets at the rodeo? It's not Tio Pablo, because I'm zero. It's not Mono, nephew Mono.
I know it's not I.
And so who is it? Leslie Briones. She is number 2. Hidalgo got 46. She got 21. So this story ain't over. And Eric, because of Ramsey's deal, because he agreed on air here that she should resign, when Briones and our good friend Ellis voted against Tom and Adrian took a walk, no one said she needs to resign. Yet, we were sitting here when KP Jordan gets a felony, and it's Lois Colkhurst and I saying, you know what, you're a county judge, you got a felony, you got to go, you got to quit. Now, Republicans will criticize Republicans if they got a felony. I didn't look like the Democrats do it much.
No, they're going to stay away from that.
Yeah, see,
they got their own racists. They're not going to take on.
Not going to take
take
on the truth.
She's not an unpopular Democrat in the base. That's what this is a political decision Ellis and Briones made. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it.
Okay, well, I know one guy that will. It's a tough Tejano, Mono.
Well, Mono will do it. Mono's in a different party. He has different calculus. I agree with that.
The good news is her time is short.
Yeah, that's correct.
Well, and I said yesterday we'll miss her, because where else are we going to get a county judge that wants universal basic income, releasing 4,000 violent criminals from the jail, takes freebies and then demands more.
You guys.
I'm just hoping Anise Parker or Letitia Plummer can continue this trend.
You Republicans don't look at glass half full. You guys don't look at glass half full. Look how much talk radio you have generated out of this. She's a gift. She's a gift.
1.33 million views on Tio Pablo's Facebook.
Gift. She's a gift. What are you all complaining about?
I'm not. I'm having fun.
She's a gift.
I'm having fun.
Mono, take it as a gift from the party.
All right, Mono, last word, or just happy Easter to you.
Yeah, happy Easter to you guys.
Yep,
and thank y'all for letting me come on today.
Oh, best wishes.
Anytime,
congratulations.
Mono. All right. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Paul?
Yeah, Ben, go.
I was just going to add that priority list, I think, needs to include publicizing the apprehension of criminal illegal immigrants and arresting and deporting anyone who has had their immigration hearing and is still in the United States illegally. And I think that the public should know what ICE is focused on, and I think it should be publicized, because you cannot retreat from this immigration thing. But there is, I think, an acceptable area that has strong popular support.
All right, we're
We're
not retreating from anything here on the Amigos. We've got Eric's good news coming out. We got your calls 281-558-5738. Join Paul and Jacqueline at 281-558 KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. The three Amigos will be back after this on the Voice of Texas.
Got a question or comment for the Amigos? Call now. 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-5738.
After a hard rain, you can see them. The water stains on the ceiling or the dripping water from a recessed light. Now you start to get nervous because you know leaks can cause big problems.
Once the water enters the structure, the trouble starts. Water weakens rafters and beams over time. It soaks through drywall and damages the insulation in your home.
And Roland, don't forget about mold. It grows fast in our humidity and causes all kinds of health problems.
I'd really hate to see you spend thousands on expensive structural or drywall repairs or mold removal projects, especially when we can fix those leaks quickly at Tejas Roofing.
And most of our leak repairs are under $500. This is Deb and Roland Tejada from Tejas Roofing, your Houston roofing company. Call us when you first see that leak, 281-251-0304. See our work online at TejasRoofingandContracting.com. Tejas Roofing, 281-251-0304.
Does your company have a cybersecurity rider? Are you compliant with its terms? If you are not sure, call Tactical Cyber Services for a free consultation. 713-229-0030 or go online at tacticalcyberservices.com.
This is Brad Keselowski, driver of the #2 Discount Tire Ford Fusion. My pit crew uses a lot of sophisticated tools to keep my car in winning shape. But all you need to check your tire's tread is a penny. Simply insert the coin, Lincoln's head first, into your tire grooves. If you can see Lincoln's entire head, it's time for new tires. Remember, tires with proper tread stop and handle better, especially when the roads are wet.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Oh, happy birthday, Wayne Newton. When's the last time you've heard Donker Shame by Wayne Newton?
I don't know.
Happy birthday. Yeah, if you've been to Vegas, of course you went to the Wayne Newton show. I know nothing about Pearl Jam, but I wanted to update my...
Pearl Jam. You want to get some street cred from Pearl Jam.
Mike McCready, the lead guitar's birthday is today. I thought I would up my calendar, up my something.
You
up
up your street cred. Up your game.
Back to ABBA because we keep having ABBA birthdays. This is ABBA Waterloo. Agatha.
Well, Olivia Newton-John did a version.
She
of
did a
this too,
version
right?
of that too. That's correct. Oh, there's more. Happy birthday, Tony Orlando. Happy birthday.
Classic. This was his best one. Is it mine?
You're going to get a classic coming up.
Ooh, a real
Alan
classic.
Clark. Lead singer of the Hollies. This is a classic song.
Well, it was their one-hit wonder.
You can play this a little bit while I introduce everybody. 1540 KGBC 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas. Driving home, Paul Betancourt, Senator Betancourt across from me. Ben Struzan, my dear friend, on the phone and calling in and giving us some updates on numbers and polling. And let's see what happened today. You want to know what happened today in history?
One deal. Give us our best deal.
Well, I don't know about best. Jesse James was killed on this day.
Okay, that was the end of the Lincoln County Range Wars.
Pony Express began today.
That was a good thing.
1860.
Right.
How about this? Now, this is 1973. The first handheld mobile phone call was
made. 1973. I just love, I love my old flip phone.
And on the same
I kept my old Motorola flip phone. I just love it.
But now you couldn't pick it up.
I love that radio in there too. You could go radio. You could go. I love that phone.
And in a sense of irony, since we were just talking about oil, this was the anniversary of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010.
Try to stay positive.
Well, I'm ripping it off. I won't mention that ever again.
Ben, you got anything or going to the phones?
Well, I'm sitting here watching both you guys on YouTube and talking on the phone. It's really kind of interesting.
How about
Rumble? Yeah, there you are.
Rumble.
I'm watching you guys on YouTube TV. It's very entertaining.
Hey, Craig, what else we got besides Rumble? We're on Facebook.
We're on Facebook?
Yeah, and by the way, go back to Bo Betancourt on Facebook and like that post that we had about the Psy guy from Artemis 2 last time. So we've also got
did they ever find
1540
AM.
Did they find a clip? It does not look like the boys found a clip. Did you? You found
They did
4
not find
clips.
my clip of Harry Reid to irritate Eric.
Oh, Eric, yes. Play Harry Reid to irritate Eric. Go.
He thought of this first.
Birthright citizenship.
If making it easy to be an illegal alien isn't enough, how about offering a reward for being an illegal immigrant? No sane country would do that, right? Guess again. If you break our laws by entering this country without permission and give birth to a child, we reward that child with U.S. citizenship and guarantee of full access to all public and social services this society provides. And that's a lot of services. Is it any wonder that 2/3 of the babies born at taxpayer expense at county-run hospitals in Los Angeles are born to illegal
And in
alien
Clark
mothers?
County, too. You know, Ben, maybe if
he had argued that in the Supreme Court.
Right, maybe it would have been a better help to the Solicitor General. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, he just based that on philosophy, not constitutional law. See.
All right.
What happened to your party, Eric?
They went left of Harry Reid, obviously, and then Harry Reid canceled.
I didn't think that was. Yeah, I didn't think that was possible.
All right, let's get Pablo up. Pablo, you're up on the Voice of Texas. Come on, Paul.
Hey guys, 2 quick things. One is, and Eric, all your communist and Marxist buddies that try to call themselves Democrats and hide behind that, create chaos and misery for the American people in this country. They don't care. That's how they figure, well, if there's enough chaos and misery that we create, and with this DHS shutdown, and guess who's paying the DHS people? Trump and the Republicans, not Democrats. Schumer wouldn't give them a dime.
Yeah, Eric.
So,
Eric.
Main goal. The second thing is, real quick, I heard something after Trump's speech where some people were talking about Europe. Remember that saying? If you don't remember the lessons of history, you're doomed to repeat them.
Yes.
Yes, Iran is their problem as well. Straits of Hormuz, we can get our own oil. Okay, we can get that. They can't. They need. And remember what Trump did to Angela Merkel back in 2017 or 18?
No, I can just remember she was mad.
Taking oil from the Russians. He gave her a white flag.
Oh, that's
so. Yes, and they have ballistic missiles enough that they shot one at Diego Garcia, or whatever it was.
And by the way,
missed.
Yeah, I think.
And then we had the
those
UK
were the North.
to use those bases.
Yeah, Paul, those were those
joint agreement.
Paul, those were those North.
So, yes.
North Korean.
They
imports.
They do have a problem. Islam has overtaken and turned, to where they're not
Paul,
native.
thanks.
They don't have their native citizens anymore.
Okay, and by the way, I think Paul was referring to in the 1880s. 80-84 election, the Republicans used to call the Democrats the party of Romanism, and rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
See?
1884.
You've had this problem.
That's what you're running on?
Yeah,
that's
you're
what
right.
You're looking for. You're looking for that. That's our hook.
Well, no, as the Catholic, I just remembered this little point of history.
Yeah, I think the public is looking at gas prices and other things right now.
All right,
they're focused on that.
All right, well, let's turn and burn and get to the bonus round. Get your calls in 281-558-5738.
Keep that read thing off again. I don't want to hear that again.
All right, join Jackie at 281-558-KSEV or pound KSEV. It's free for those Verizon callers. We'll be back with the bonus round next here on The Voice of Texas.
The flagship station of true conservative talk radio, The Voice of Texas.
This is Paul Betancourt. Property values may have peaked. Protest your property values now.
Sign up with Betancourt Tax Advisors by going online to btanow.com or by calling Paul's professional property team at 713-263-6100.
Money Matters with Steve Drake.
First of all, I'm glad you're 88 in great health.
Thank you.
I have
Me too.
clients who are 88, and they're so worried they won't even buy green bananas. I mean, they are like, whoa.
Now Mondays through Thursdays at 11 a.m. till noon, here on AM 700 KSEV and AM 1540 KGBC, the voice of Texas.
Chris X here to tell you about Humble Amco Transmission and AC Specialists. People who know go to Amco. I personally trust Jay Streckfus and Humble Amco with all of my vehicle's needs. With complete car care, they'll take care of all of your auto needs as well. Always a free check engine light inspection, and tell them that Chris X sent you for a free engine scan. Call Jay today at 281-446-0862. That's 281-446-0862, or online at humbleamco.com.
Pros, just because something on the job runs out doesn't mean you have to. Order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25. Get the fasteners, hardware, or tools you need to keep the job moving. Order by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered right to your job site by 8 p.m. Members get more at Lowe's. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Subject to availability. Restrictions and terms at lowes.com/shipping terms. Subject to change.
Hi, everybody. This is Brian Kilmeade. Keep listening to the voice of Texas.
Hey, Ben, you're live, okay?
Oh
my gosh.
Take it.
And welcome back
Are
to
you
the Voice
choking?
of Texas. Thanks for joining us on a Friday drive home afternoon with the three amigos and the Soul Man. The Screw with the View screws in on the right. Scout Taxman Paul Betancourt at the helm, and the liberal lefty judge in his, what is that, a blue parka, Eric, or kind of a, what is that that you're wearing? A blue
cardigan over sweater. A zip
cardigan,
thing.
little cardigan over.
It's very chic, very
look,
Democrat.
yeah, very-
Look at him. It's very
Very
blue,
Brooks Brothers.
Very blue. Anyway, by the way, and Craig said that to get to Rumble, you have to search Google for KSEV, then Rumble, right? You KSEV space Rumble.
Well, I do it easy. I just go to YouTube TV. It's very, very simple. YouTube.
Right, and we've got all the side guy stuff up right now from the interview. From that huge, that great, that wonderful interview. No one interviews the side guy better than the three amigos. All right. Oh, hey, wait a minute. We got roving reporter Jacqueline Lucy.
Oh my
gosh, Jacqueline, talk to us.
Hey guys, how are you this Friday afternoon?
Doing great. Jackie, you're running for county attorney on the Republican side, so that means you've got Scoop. What Scoop got you?
Well, I'm a little frustrated with the way they've been handling this whole Lena Hidalgo thing, especially the county attorney's office. I mean, where is the county attorney, and why haven't they been advising Commissioner's Court and the elected officials of Harris County what they actually can and cannot do before they get into trouble?
You mean like on this rodeo, Jackie?
Incompetence?
Yeah, Jackie, on the rodeo gate, as I've tagged it, you've got Lena taking all these free tickets that are at least $9,000. I've seen something from John Lomax that others are taking it. So, obviously, when you take that type of money, somebody has to disclose something, I assume.
So I read John Lomax's article and basically, if they're using the allocated tickets for the county-owned suite that is managed by the county-owned sports authority, that's a little different. It's kind of like using the administration building and going into the office because it's county-owned. The county is the one just handing out or allocating those tickets. What Lena Hidalgo did that was so wrong is she went to the the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and said, I want extra tickets that not through the Sports Authority, directly from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And they're a tenant of the county. They're doing business with the county. They're not part of the county. They're an independent 501c3.
But the county has oversight.
With the county.
The county has oversight.
They have oversight over the rodeo. They have inspection. They have a contract with them. Absolutely.
Yeah, so the bottom line here is if you go ask for free stuff, okay, which is really what she did, because she went and asked for those 21 tickets, $9,000. She's admitted it. Okay? When you're asking for that stuff and you're not accompanied, you're just getting tickets and showing up on the floor of some concert, technically, I think somebody could file a complaint and say that's a gift.
Yeah, so there's two different ways you can file a complaint. Any member of the general public can file a petition to have somebody removed from office for official misconduct. And there's also the county and district attorney both have jurisdiction to prosecute abuse of official capacity and taking of gifts. And so I think that when Lena actually started bullying the livestock show and rodeo, when they said no to her, and then she started saying, oh, they're sexist and racist and, all of this, and took to her bully pulpit, I think that really became official oppression because she carried through with her threat, basically, give me my free stuff or you're going to pay a price. And she tried to pull the trigger on that. Now, I mean, culturally, Eric, this is a problem because people don't like this petulant, thought process because it's so super privileged. And no offense, some of these socialist Democrats, they think it's their stuff. It's not the rodeo stuff. It's not the public stuff. It's like they should be getting this entitlement for free. That's how she acted.
That's just not just Democrats, though. I know.
Well,
all right. There's a free
but,
suite up there. And
well,
I get all that.
But when you go get extra stuff.
Oh, I get that. That's a judicial. That would be a judicial issue.
Right. And
we can only accept X, Y, or
right,
Z. I don't remember what the rules are.
So, Jackie, you think somebody can actually file a complaint on this?
They could. They could file a complaint on it, and then the administrative judge of the judicial region could appoint a prosecuting attorney from another county within that same region to prosecute the case for removal.
Well, that's Jacqueline Lucy Smith, who is the roving reporter on legal issues. She's also running for Harris County attorney. I don't think the existing county attorney is giving out advice, nor will they file a complaint, Jackie.
That's an interim, right, Jackie? Who is it? Who's there?
It's John Fambo, who was the first assistant to Christian Menifee. But the problem with the culture of that office, from Christian Menifee to John Fambo, they don't believe that their responsibility is to advise the elected officials. And Christian actually said that in our Chronicle.
Well, all right. Well,
Jackie,
that's a mistake.
And then I figure it out later.
Jackie, that's a mistake. We've got to run, and because we're almost out of time.